Friends, as we've seen in the previous videos, the ocean was never just water to early humanity. It was a boundary, a mystery, a place where certainty ended. Long before sonar, satellites, and deep-sea cameras, sailors didn't rely on imagination. They relied on repetition. If something happened once, it was ignored. If it happened twice, it was recorded. But when the same event appeared in different oceans, different centuries, and different cultures, it became accepted as real. In Part 1 and Part 2, we followed sea creatures whose records slowly vanished as science advanced. But today, we continue that journey even further. Because even as belief faded, there were legendary sea monsters that refused to disappear quietly. Their names were erased from charts, their warnings removed from manuals, but their reports remained. So today, this is Part 3. 10 legendary sea monsters once treated as real maritime threats. And the moment humanity stopped believing they existed. Let's continue. Number 10. The Hafgufa. Our first creature comes from medieval Scandinavian sailing records. The Hafgufa was described not as a predator, but as a living ocean feature. Early Norse sailors believed the Hafgufa was so massive that it was often mistaken for open water itself. Ships would sail into what appeared to be a calm, fish-rich area, only to realize the sea around them was slowly closing inward. Accounts describe the water rising gently on all sides, as if the ocean itself were inhaling. Fish gathered unnaturally, drawn toward a central point. Then, without warning, the water collapsed downward. What made these records unsettling was restraint. The Hafgufa wasn't said to chase ships. It didn't attack. It simply fed, and anything nearby was taken with it. Several Norse texts describe the Hafgufa's behavior as deliberate rather than violent. Sailors noted that the creature did not surface suddenly or create chaos. Instead, the sea itself appeared to change shape over time. Nets lowered into the water would come back empty, while fish gathered unnaturally close to the ship, as if being herded. Some crews reported drifting without wind for hours, trapped in a slow, circular current that resisted rowing. What unsettled navigators most was recognition. Experienced sailors claimed they knew when they had entered a Hafgufa's feeding zone, not by sight, but by silence. No birds, no waves, just still water, waiting. As ocean currents and animal behavior became better understood, the Hafgufa was reclassified as myth. But early records treated it as a predictable, recurring presence, not imagination. Number 9. The Bishop Fish. The bishop fish originated in Renaissance-era European maritime reports. It was described as a large humanoid sea creature resembling a robed figure. Several accounts claimed the creature was captured alive near coastal waters. Witnesses described it making deliberate gestures, raising its fins in patterns that sailors interpreted as communication. What disturbed observers most was its behavior. The bishop fish reportedly refused food, remained calm, and showed no aggression. Several written accounts emphasized that its behavior unsettled observers more than its appearance. Sailors noted that it maintained eye contact, adjusted its posture in response to voices, and appeared to recognize authority figures on board. One report describes the bishop fish lowering its head when approached by clergy, a gesture witnesses interpreted as acknowledgement rather than instinct. What made the encounter difficult to dismiss was consistency. Independent documents from different ports described the same sequence of events: capture, observation, refusal to eat, and eventual release. No panic, no struggle. Just a calm presence that didn't fit any known marine classification. After being presented to religious officials, it was allegedly returned to the sea, where it swam away without resistance. While later scholars dismissed the story as allegory, early documents list the encounter as literal. Not symbolic, not moral, recorded as fact. As biological classification advanced, the bishop fish vanished from serious discussion, not disproven, simply inconvenient. Number 8. The Devil Whale. The devil whale appears in medieval sailor warnings rather than folklore collections. It was described as a massive whale-like creature capable of disguising itself as land. Sailors wrote of anchoring near what looked like a rocky island. Fires were lit, supplies unloaded, only for the ground beneath them to suddenly warm and shift. Several logs describe subtle warning signs moments before submersion began. Sailors reported low vibrations through the deck, heat rising beneath their feet, and seawater pulling inward toward the shoreline. In some accounts, tethered boats snapped loose as the surrounding water began to sink rather than surge. Survivors later wrote that the movement was not violent at first. It was slow, deliberate, almost calm. By the time panic began, escape was no longer possible. The island would then submerge, pulling ships and crews down with it. What separates the devil whale from other legends is frequency. Multiple accounts describe nearly identical events across different regions. As navigation improved and coastlines were mapped accurately, these encounters stopped. The devil whale faded from charts, replaced by coordinates and depth measurements. Number 7. The Trunco. The Trunco emerged from early 20th century coastal sightings in South Africa. Witnesses described a massive white creature battling whales near shorelines. Reports mention a long trunk-like appendage, dense fur, and violent surf disturbances. Crowds gathered to watch the encounter unfold. Several newspaper accounts from the time described the creature remaining visible for extended periods, not seconds, but hours. Witnesses reported rhythmic movement rather than random drifting, with the white mass rising and falling in coordination with the waves. Some observers noted what appeared to be a raised appendage striking the water repeatedly, while nearby whales attempted to flee the area. Local fishermen, familiar with whale carcasses, insisted this was different. The body moved against the current, resisted the surf, and showed signs of muscular control. Whatever it was, people watching believed they were witnessing a living struggle, not debris. What made the Trunco unique was modern timing. Photographs were allegedly taken. Physical remains were rumored, but no verified evidence survived. The creature washed ashore briefly, then vanished. As marine biology expanded, Trunco sightings were attributed to decaying whale remains, but eyewitnesses insisted what they saw was alive, moving, and deliberate. The name faded. The reports did not. Number 6. The long-necked seal. This creature appears in early Arctic expedition logs. Explorers described seal-like animals with unnaturally long necks surfacing near ice floes. Witnesses noted slow, upright movement and dark, watchful eyes. The creatures would surface silently, observe, then disappear beneath the ice. Several expedition members recorded that the creature's neck rose far higher than any known seal could manage, remaining vertical for extended moments without visible strain. Some logs describe the head turning slowly from side to side, tracking movement on deck with deliberate precision. What disturbed observers most was the lack of fear. The animal did not flee when spotted, nor did it react to noise or light. It simply watched. In a few cases, multiple crew members described seeing more than one surface at a time, spaced evenly apart, before slipping back beneath the ice in near-perfect silence. What unsettled crews was proximity. The animals approached ships closely, yet never interacted. As Arctic exploration intensified, no confirmed specimens were found. The long-necked seal was removed from zoological consideration, but early expedition journals treated the encounters as routine, not extraordinary. Number 5. The sea monk. The sea monk was recorded in 16th century European natural history texts. It was described as a large, robed sea creature with a human-like posture. Several illustrations show the creature standing upright in shallow water. Observers described it as silent, motionless, and deeply unsettling. Several contemporary accounts emphasize that the sea monk did not behave like a panicked or confused animal. Witnesses noted that it remained upright for extended periods, even when approached, showing no signs of aggression or escape behavior. Its stillness was repeatedly described as intentional rather than passive. In a few reports, observers claimed the creature slowly turned its upper body toward nearby boats, maintaining eye contact before retreating beneath the surface. What unsettled naturalists most was familiarity. The posture, proportions, and presence felt uncomfortably close to human, defying easy classification within known marine life. Captured specimens were allegedly examined, sketched, then lost. As scientific rigor increased, the sea monk was dismissed as misidentified marine animals, but original authors treated it as real, studied, not imagined. The name vanished from textbooks. The drawings remained. Number 4. The Stronsay Beast. The Stronsay Beast was discovered washed ashore in Scotland in 1808. Witnesses described a massive carcass with a long neck and fin-like limbs. Measurements were taken. Sketches were made. The body decomposed before proper classification. Contemporary reports emphasize that the Stronsay Beast was not treated as a curiosity or rumor. The carcass was examined over several days, with multiple witnesses confirming the same unusual features. The neck length did not match whales or seals, and the limb structure appeared more rigid than any known marine mammal. Some observers noted what looked like cartilage or fin supports extending beyond typical anatomy. Even as decomposition progressed, disagreements remained not over whether the body was real, but over what it could possibly have been. What made the case unusual was seriousness. Local officials documented the find. Naturalists debated it. Eventually, the Stronsay Beast was labeled a decomposed known animal, but no consensus was reached. The case was closed without resolution. Number 3. The Morgans. The Morgans appears in 18th century European maritime warnings. It was described as a massive serpentine creature capable of capsizing ships. Survivors reported violent impacts beneath hulls, followed by sudden disappearance. Several naval logs described the impacts as precise rather than chaotic. Crews reported a single powerful strike from below, strong enough to throw men off their feet without breaking the ship apart. In some cases, the vessel remained seaworthy but lost steering control, drifting for hours afterward. What unsettled authorities was the absence of secondary effects. No repeated blows, no pursuit, no visible cause. The encounter would happen once, decisively, and then end. Because the damage pattern did not match reefs, storms, or collisions, early maritime officials classified the Morgans as an active hazard rather than an unknown animal. No debris, no bodies. The Morgans was treated as an environmental threat, not a monster. Charts marked regions to avoid. As shipping routes changed, Morgan's sightings stopped. Not disproven, simply bypassed. Number 2. The U-28 Sea Monster. During World War I, a German submarine reportedly encountered a massive sea creature after torpedoing a ship. Crew members described a large, crocodile-like animal emerging from the wreckage, swimming past the submarine. According to the crew's account, the creature surfaced amid floating debris, its body partially illuminated by burning wreckage. Sailors described a long, rigid spine, powerful limbs, and a head unlike any known marine reptile. What made the report unusual was composure. The crew did not describe panic or confusion. Measurements, behavior, and direction of movement were noted calmly, as standard protocol required. The creature did not attack the submarine, nor did it flee. It passed alongside the vessel, submerged deliberately, and vanished. No further contact occurred. The encounter was recorded in official logs. Not folklore, not rumor. Later historians dismissed the sighting as stress-induced misidentification, but the original report stands unedited. The incident was never retracted. Number 1. The Great Sea Serpent. Our final creature is the most widely reported of all. The Great Sea Serpent appears in naval records across centuries and continents. Long, multi-humped bodies. Vertical movement. Consistent descriptions. What makes this case unique is persistence. Sightings continued into the age of photography. Multiple sightings were recorded by naval officers, lighthouse keepers, and commercial ship captains, individuals trained to identify known marine life. Reports describe elongated bodies rising vertically from the water, forming a series of rounded humps that moved in sequence rather than breaking the surface randomly. Some observers estimated lengths exceeding 30 meters based on time visible and distance traveled. A handful of photographs were taken, but each was later dismissed as inconclusive or misinterpreted. Still, the consistency of movement, posture, and scale across independent reports kept the Great Sea Serpent in official discussion longer than any other sea creature on record. Even as explanations multiplied, reports never fully stopped. Eventually, belief didn't end because evidence failed. It ended because belief became unfashionable. The sea serpent didn't disappear. it was explained away. For most of human history, the ocean wasn't empty, it was observed. These creatures may not have existed as described, but the records existed, the belief existed, and the fear was real. As science advanced, the monsters didn't die. They were renamed, redefined, explained. And today, all that remains are the final records, the last sightings, and the moment humanity stopped believing the sea was alive. Thanks for watching.